a like on the video on your way in. Do also get your votes in on the poll, and I see our lovely Mama Flossie has also joined us in the chat. Everybody say hi as you come in, smash the like, vote on the poll, and just leave the day's stress at the door. We are here, we're ready to talk football. As you can see from the thumbnail, I am very much looking forward to talking about this match between Manchester United and Fulham. However, I am also going to speak about all the other matches and the incidents as such so far this Premier League game week, because of course we can't say the game week is over just yet. We do still have one more match to go this evening, but I'm starting with Manchester United and Fulham, and we will just go from there. We'll see what comes to my mind first, and honestly, let's face it, it could be absolutely anything. But let me first, because otherwise what's going to happen is I am going to try and talk through this screen and it's not going to show you. So let me see, why is it not doing what I want it to do? Well, that's a bit of a pain in the backside of Rooney. And let me see. I think maybe you can see it now, maybe you can't. Tell me, folks, can you see anything beside me on the screen? What, can you see a black box? Oh, am I quiet again? Flossie, is that better? I just have to put the mic closer to me because that seems to be the issue, is that I don't have the mic close enough to my mouth. Let me know, is that okay? Is that better now, Flossie? I'm going to wait until you let me know, because this, I don't know if that goes any higher, but let me know. First of all, can you see anything beside me on the screen? Hopefully you can see that. Second of all, can you hear me properly? Is the sound a little bit louder there? Let me know, Flossie and Rob, when you get a second a bit better. That is okay. It doesn't go any higher, so that is the highest that the system goes. And I have the mic short of eating it, it won't go any closer, so I'm not sure why it's seeming so low. Again, it's exactly the way I had it on the last stream, because I'm looking at the back here and it seems to be okay. Maybe I'm just more softly spoken this evening. Maybe it's because I'm normally just shouting at the whole lot of yous and I'm talking super duper loud, and today I'm actually just speaking like a normal human being and I'm not shouting at everybody. But yes, it seems that you can also see the screen as well, which is excellent news. So obviously here, start of the match, very, very early in, we had clearly a controversial penalty/free kick call, because why would be anything but controversial when we're talking about Manchester United or when we are talking about the referees in this day and age. It feels like absolutely everything is controversial. Now, for me, the foul started clearly outside the box. He was being pulled. It certainly wasn't fleeting. And then obviously he eventually does go down inside the box. Originally it is given as a penalty, which is then reviewed, cancelled, and it's given as a free kick. I thought that was fair, to be honest. Because I saw before, it was in a previous match, the explanation they gave was that it's where the foul starts, not where it ends, and the foul did very, very clearly start outside the box. So I thought, fair enough, as much as you want a penalty when it's given, can't really cry when it's a fair decision. However, Bruno takes the free kick, Casemiro into the back of the net. Absolutely fantastic. It gives Bruno 12 assists so far this season, which matches his own personal record, which I believe he set in 2020-2021, and it is the highest by a country mile so far in the Premier League. Also, what else does it do? It sets him on track for beating the all-time record, which is the words that would not come to my brain. So let me pull this up, because there's something else I want to show you while we're talking about it. Let me show you this screen here. Is Bruno Fernandes set to win his first Coca-Cola Golden Playmaker Award since he joined Man United back in 2020? His 12 assists so far, including 2 in Sunday's 3-2 win against Fulham, equals blah blah blah. This is the list so far this season. So as you can see, behind him is Ryan Cherky. Jack Grealish then is in third, but sure, he's out for like 3 months now. So Ryan Cherky is the closest, and even then he's 5 behind him. But that is not what I was looking for. Where is the other one? I have another one. I have all the Bruno stuff. I don't normally give Bruno a lot of credit, but I thought, we'll give him the credit today because he's been invited. This is what I'm looking for. I love this picture as well. Such a good picture. Absolutely fantastic. You could make a poster out of this. But Bruno Fernandes has registered 12 assists in the Premier League this season, equalling his best ever return in the competition. The all-time record could be in trouble. The all-time record is 20. I believe it is held by Henri. Let me see. There's so many things. All the things. I believe it was set by Henri, but either way, it's definitely 20. And he's already got 12. So there is a very serious possibility that he could match or exceed that record, which would be absolutely phenomenal considering the season that we've actually had. But also, it shows the threat of Casemiro. We are going to miss this man. We know he's going. We know we're going to miss him. If we let him and Harry Maguire go at the same time in the summer transfer window, after already letting Scott McTominay go, we are seriously reducing our aerial threat. We have matched quite a number of times this season Arsenal's set-piece goals. Part of that is because we have been performing so much better on corners, because previously we were utterly dreadful at corners. We're now much better at them. Part of that is obviously what we are able to do in the air. So if we lose both Casemiro and Harry Maguire, that is going to be a problem next season. But for the moment, we are going to continue to enjoy this man because, my goodness me, he is absolutely sensational. I see Rob is in the house, Guess is in the house. Guess is going to be up incredibly early in the morning, so she's come to drop her like, and then I believe she is going to be going to bed, which means everybody must behave, including Gav, or Flossie is going to get handy with the spanner. But Gav said, evening all, to be honest, we should have had another penalty with the challenge on Brian. I know he got the ball after, but he pushed and clattered him first. Still got the 3 points, which was the main thing. Yes, I thought it should have been a penalty, but I think it's one of those things as well. Do you know when you win the match, you don't talk about that stuff as much? If we hadn't won the match, that's the kind of thing we analyse to death. Not because we should or shouldn't, but because it doesn't matter as much when you've got the win out of it. But so we obviously make it in at half-time 1-0 up. First of all, I want to say both Martinez and Maguire had very good matches, particularly in the first half. I would also say Sene Lammens has been unbelievable since we've got him. He is one of the reasons that we are getting the results that we are getting. He's one of the reasons that we've managed to stay in matches that we would have otherwise lost. And he's definitely one of the reasons, if not the reason, that we managed to stay 1-0 up going in at half time. Some of the saves he pulled off were absolutely unbelievable. But I want to show you a thing. Now, how do I do this? That's not what I wanted. Right. So let me see. How do I'm a genius. Okay. I was pushing buttons. I didn't know what they were doing. But I think I've figured out now. But I want to show you this. And I've saved this because I spotted this a little while ago. But I've saved this. So this is from René Mullenstein on Sene Lammens, and it's from the 16th of January. So I've been keeping this because I knew it would come in handy. But if you, and this is from René Mullenstein, so this is what he said. I think if you look at the top teams, look at Arsenal. They've got a really good goalkeeper. Liverpool, good goalkeeper. City, United. It's not good enough. The keepers are not good enough. This Lammens boy is potentially a really good goalkeeper. I don't think at this moment in time he's ready, and he's not good enough for this moment in time. That's my opinion. For instance, even Aston Villa with Emi Martinez, that type. These goalkeepers win games for you. and he said this on No Tippy Tappy Pod. Well, Mr. Mullenstein, I would say you are absolutely incorrect. I would say Sene Lammens absolutely does win games for us, and I would say that was a complete howler. And I've kept it just so we judge people. We judge people too early, we make sweeping statements, and we're wrong. And the thing is, everybody can be wrong. I can be wrong, you can be wrong, we can all be wrong. Nobody's infallible, nobody gets all their predictions correct. However, I do think it's important to acknowledge when we get these things wrong. Because at the time when we were signing Sene Lammens, I wanted somebody more experienced. Somebody that knew the Premier League. Somebody that could, handle the pressure. Sene has come in and he's absolutely smashed it out of the park. He's getting better and better and better and better. He's getting more and more and more confident, and he is absolutely a key part in all of the results that we have managed to get this season. So to come in on the 16th of January, when this has all already started to happen, and say the goalkeepers are not good enough when you're referencing United, is just absolutely wrong. Also, this Lammens boy, it's the attitude. It's the bit of snobbery, it's the looking down your nose, it's just a bit, this Lammens boy, well, he's not a boy, is he? He's a man. He might be a young man, and if you said this young man, there's a very different sound to that than this Lammens boy. Just because you've never heard of him, René, doesn't mean that he's no good. So, just wanted to put that out there. The man has been unbelievable, absolutely sensational, knocking it out of the park week in, week out. He has won us matches. He has been a key part of what we've been doing, and I just think he's been unbelievable. And I think we have to start recognising that. One of the other players that was also absolutely unbelievable in that match was Bryan Mbeumo. But this little stat, this little nugget is from before the Fulham match, but I do want to share it. Sometimes I keep these. Do you remember the last time we were live after the match, but we Kai on, and so I didn't want to do all this with Kai because obviously we were talking about Chelsea, but I've kept them. I'm not just going to lose them for everybody. I have kept them. So this is my next fun fact of the day, and this is from Football Tweet. Bryan Mbeumo is the first Manchester United player to score against all three of Arsenal, City and Liverpool on his debut season at the club since Robin van Persie in 2012-2013. Greatness awaits. Well, isn't he in stellar company? And I would say he is more than fit to rise to that challenge. I see our Kai from behind the dugouts is in the house. I am telling them. They're underestimating Rosenior, they're underestimating Sene Lammens, they're underestimating everybody. But don't you worry, I have got it covered and I am ready to call them out. Now, I do have a little fun fact. Where is it? I saved all the things. I am going to go back to talking about the match, but sometimes I get myself distracted, obviously, as you well know. Let me see. Where in the name? You will enjoy this. I've saved this one for you, Kai. No English team in UCL history has now reached the last 16 more often than Chelsea, with 18 times, which is one more time than Arsenal. So, behind the dugout saying we are beating Arsenal tomorrow, I can feel it, and this is just a nice little stat to get you well on the way, Kai. That's going to get you nice and buzzed, ready for what's coming up, and you know what, you might just do them. I hope you do. But let's go back up the way, up. There's Rosenior there. There's Enzo Fernandez. Where are we, lads? Back to the match. Let's go. Oh, my scroller has broken. My mouse has broken. I've scrolled too many times and it won't click on the things. Well, isn't that absolutely phenomenal? Right, so we're going back old school. We're looking at my notes because my system has decided it's not going to work anymore. Absolutely sensational. But we've talked about Bruno's free kick. We've spoken about Casemiro scoring. We've spoken about Bruno's 12 assists so far this season, going for the Premier League record of 20 assists in one season. But what I haven't mentioned yet is the fact that Bruno has 5 assists in 5 straight games. So he is on a roll. We did speak about the loss of aerial threat if we lose both Casemiro and Maguire in the summer. We also did speak about Lomans making key saves. And essentially we get to half time at 1-0. But then we go to the second half. Let me see. Are we still not working? No, absolutely not a yoke of it. Right. Let me try again. It's working now. So what I did was I closed it and I reopened it because obviously that is the only way to fix things in this life. So you should be able to see it back up on your screens now. So we come back out after half time. We're, 10 minutes into the second half. Casemiro with the no look assist. I'm kicking it this way, I'm looking that way, I'm unbelievable. Cunha with a great goal, but let's be fair, Casemiro absolutely stole the thunder for that goal because it was just unreal. What I am looking for is I have a gif of that. Obviously I can't play the footage because the Premier League will do me for copyright. But there's a GIF and I can play the GIF because technically I'm not playing the footage. So let me get the GIF back to the beginning and then we can see the no-look assist. Right, everybody, it's on the screen. Prepare yourselves. It's just a thing of beauty. Absolute magic. And what I will say, I saw that Jamie Carragher was asked about this because obviously he said, and it is not aging well, in fact the longer it goes on the worse it's aging, he said about Casemiro, leave the football before the football leaves you. He was asked about that little quote, so he was. There's our Olanma in the house, thank you very much for joining us, lovely. But what he said, can I find the quote? No, it's gone. But what he said when he was asked about this was, it's, and let me get it right because I don't want to misquote him. He said, it's fair to say the football hasn't left him, and if he wants to come back to me and say, leave the punditry before the punditry leads you, he's well within his rights. And I thought, do you know what, actually? I can't believe this. I'm going to give a bit of credit to Jamie Carragher because and behind the dugouts, Kai is saying the worst pundit on the planet can't stand him, which is completely legitimate, fair, and he spits on children, so we don't like him. But I'm going to give him credit because when the ex-United legends, when Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt got it so wrong with Martinez, they got Leitch so wrong, they did him dirty, the quotes come out, and see when he absolutely pocketed Haaland, they didn't come out and make a joke of it, make light of it and be like, oh, he's right to come back at us, ha ha ha. They were like, oh, well, don't be so sensitive. Oh, well, if you're going to take it so seriously, oh, well, we're not backtracking, we're still correct. And I just thought, oh my God, you're actually just mortifying yourselves. Jamie Carragher has got this completely wrong, and you know what he's done? He's come out and he said, fair enough, fair enough, I got it wrong. If he wants to come back at me, he's 100% correct to do so. And I thought, whether you like Jamie Carragher or not, and I don't like him, I think when you do something what he's done, you just bang out of order. However, it's not the first time where he's come out and said, you know what, hands up, I got that one wrong. And I think that's important, and I think we should acknowledge it when we see it. And I thought it was fair enough. Now, obviously then, that leaves us, we've left ourselves off here with the no-look assist, the unbelievable no-look assist, 2-0 up. And then obviously, Casemiro, the hero of the moment, the unbelievable Casemiro, who has scored and assisted the goal, goes and gets himself a yellow card. And as I'm pretty sure it was Marv said in our group chat, Marv said, that's the hat-trick for Casemiro. A goal, an assist, and a yellow card. The only things that you can count on. But It led to a goal, which was then cancelled. Again, another one that was slightly controversial because, as we said, everything is more or less controversial at the moment. But essentially, the free kick is taken, it bounces into the wall and it kind of skitters out. And it's Chukwueze, is it Chuck? How do I say that man's name right? Let's go back because I don't want to completely... Yeah, Chukwueze, I had it right. Psyched myself out, so I did. But so, Chukwueze kind of... all the buttons. I'm pressing all the buttons, lads, and I'm doing it wrong. But, so it bounces kind of out of the wall to Chukwueze, who kicks it, and then it's saved, it bounces back out for the rebound, and at that point... where's the other way chap whose name is escaping me? I've lost his name. And it's a hard one to pronounce. Where is it? Goal cancelled. Cuenca. It looks like Cuenca, but the commentator was saying Cueca. But anyway, he scored the goal. But when they looked at it, they took it back and they said that Chukwueze had been offside for his attempt. Therefore, the rebound was also offside. Was all offside, didn't count. So we're still 2-0. We get to the 74th minute and we're doing substitution. So we're 2-0 up. It's the 74th minute. We're taking Cunha off for Sesko. So you know there's going to be about 20 minutes left to play. Sesko's getting on for 20 minutes. Casemiro, who is on his yellow, he's getting yoked off. We're putting Ugarte on. I will say, I thought they were very good subs. They were the right time. It was exactly what I wanted to see. I don't want Sesko starting at the moment. I don't think he's good enough. He's supposed to be kind of a trainee striker. He's supposed to be a striker in development. He shouldn't be under all the pressure. He shouldn't be playing every minute. The world of Manchester United should not be on his shoulders. He should have time to grow into his role. We needed to take the pressure off him, but we still need to give him minutes. So I think 20 minutes at the end of a match when we're 2-0 up is exactly when we should be seeing Sesko. It gives him the freedom and the ability to go and do what he wants without the whole match resting on him. So I think it was absolutely the right decision. And let's be honest, when Casemiro's on a yellow, you probably need to take him off the pitch. When you're 2-0 up and there's only about 15-20 minutes to go, get him off. Do the clever thing. And then obviously Chukwueze goes off. There's Harry Maguire gets a foul. The penalty that Harry Maguire gives away. Now, Lomans is coming out to get it, and Harry Maguire slides in, and to be fair, as well as sliding in, he does also hand the ball. Obviously the penalty was given anyway, so it didn't really count too much, but I mean, he did also hand the ball. So it was just going to be a penalty, whether you thought it was a foul, not a foul, the whole lot. The penalty was being given, right? Now, obviously, when it happens, you're like, Harry, what are we doing? Lomans had it covered. Why are we being so excitable? We can just calm ourselves down. It's going to be fine. The thing is, if he doesn't go in and it's not covered, we're criticising him. So he has to go in. The other side of it is, he is used to playing in front of the likes of Onana and Bayindir. If we're nervous when we see an Onana or a Bayindir, how do we think that the defenders feel like Harry Maguire? They're as traumatised as the fans are. So while Sene Lomans is a massive step up, Harry Maguire is used to having to protect his keeper because his keeper is never where he's supposed to be or doing what he's supposed to be doing. So I completely understand Harry Maguire going in. I'm not going to criticise him for what he did because I think if he hadn't done it and Lomans isn't covered, we're giving out about him for not going in. I just think it's one of them things. It's unlucky the way it happened. They got the penalty. They score the penalty. It's 2-1. And you're thinking, Manchester United. And obviously at this point, Michael Carrick is thinking the same thing. Because what he does is he rips Dalot off the pitch and he gets Noussair Mazraoui on. Because Mazraoui is a better defender than Dalot. So he's thinking what we're thinking. Huge is in the house. He is saying Maguire knows he is slow, so he knows he has to make up for it. Fair enough. Do you know what I mean? Gav is saying it wasn't a penalty, it was a mugging. But look, they go on, obviously, as we know, to make it 2-2. They're delighted with themselves. We're in the 91st minute. Everybody's panicking and we're like, oh no, we've done the United. We've panicked and we've conceded. However, there was 9 added minutes. Now, a lot of people were saying, where in the name of good God did the 9 minutes come from? Well, 3 to 3.5 of those minutes came from the semi-automated offside check, which took 6 lifetimes. Then obviously we'll have a whole heap of subs, we'll have a penalty, we'll have we have got a lot of stuff going on here. There's the penalty, there's the goals, the celebrations, the yellow cards, the offside check. There probably should have been about 6 minutes. Do you know what I mean? To be fair, 6 minutes was probably about right. However, it has been a consistent theme of the season that Manchester United, when we're winning, there's absolute insane amounts of extra time. I would say, and maybe I'll do this, if we look at the extra time that has been added on for each team all season, we have to be top of that list. There has to be more added time in our games than any other team in the Prem this season. There has to be. Somebody remind me after the stream. I might look that up. Maybe they're right there. Maybe I have to look it up myself. We'll see. It depends how much effort it's going to take me. But anyway, in extra time, it goes 2-2. Fulham are delighted. Fulham think that's it. They've got the point. And we said, hold our beer. Sesko comes in clutch, makes it 3-2. Absolutely unbelievable. Right after it's done. So as soon as this goes in, Mbeumo was off, Yoro was on, we're sitting in, we're defending for our lives, we're getting through these 9 minutes. And again, I felt very much like Michael Carrick is one of us, because genuinely he was just like, right, we've gone back ahead, let's defend. What do you mean, iNotes? Howard Webb is carrying United. What are you even talking about? Absolute complete nonsense. Utter nonsense. Talk about Lamins and Mbeumo and Fernandes carrying United maybe. Howard Webb, not so much. Get back in your box. But this was all very exciting. Excellent match. Excellent result, exciting football, fun to watch, even more fun obviously because we got the win, because if we hadn't got the win, I wouldn't have cared how exciting it was to watch. I would have been raging that we hadn't got the points. But we weren't the only match of the weekend, and there really was controversy absolutely everywhere. So in 2 of the other matches that kicked off at 2 o'clock, same time as us, Aston Villa Brentford have a red card, but managed to beat Aston Villa 1-0. Aston Villa, that's pretty much them out of it. I've been sticking up for Aston Villa. They have been my hope for winning the title against Arsenal. They absolutely let me down. Completely and utterly let me down. And then we have Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace ending 1-1. Nottingham Forest also getting a red card. So out of the 3 matches that kicked off at 2 p.m, 2 of them had a red card in them. But really, that wasn't the other main match or the main point. On Sunday, it was Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester City. As we know, Manchester City, before half-time, they're already 2-0 up. They're absolutely smashing it. It's not looking good for Spurs. You're thinking this could end up being quite a big score. It really could. People are panicking. It's not looking good. Let me just take a sip of my water and I will be back with you guys. Sorry guys, I needed to lubricate the throat for all this talking I'd be doing, otherwise we'd be listening to me coughing. But it's not looking good. Whatever. Oh, Jesse's in the house. Hi Jesse, welcome. But whatever Thomas Frank did or said at half time must have been sensational, because they come back out after half time, 53rd minute, Solanke with an unbelievable goal. Very, very, very good goal. Okay? Then, miraculously, in the 70th minute, Dominic Solanke again, assisted by Conor Gallagher, makes it 2-2. Everybody's losing their mind. Pep losing his mind. Everybody's lost it. They've all lost it. And the big thing they're talking about is, of course, shockingly, the referees. They're saying that, you know, the referee was making poor decisions, that they have to be fair, it's not gone their way, that specifically for the goal where kind of, now, I'm sure you have all seen it, one foot goes behind the other. They're saying there's a kick on a City player. The goal should have been disallowed. It was a foul. It's a nonsense. Both of these goals were completely 100% legitimate goals. Absolutely nothing to do with the referee. And I think Manchester City have a cheek to talk about any referee being biased when Rodri could and should have been off the pitch at least 4 times. At least 4 times. And not just in this match. They get away with all sorts of absolute murder. So to come out afterwards and say the referee was biased, the referee this, the referee that, is an embarrassment. And I also think we need to really recognise Spurs, because we had lovely Kate on, from the very lovely Kate and Jimbo, on the channel on Sunday afternoon, just prior to the match, and we said, look, Man City are the favourites. And I said, but it's not impossible that Spurs get a win here. If you had said that they were going to go 2-0 down, Spurs are going to go 2-0 down to Manchester City, and then they're going to fight back to 2-2 and not get any credit, is unreal. To come back from 2-0 down to 2-2 against Manchester City, even if they're not the Manchester City of old, is unbelievable. The mentality it takes, the fight back it takes, the determination it takes, and the individual brilliance that it takes, like what we saw from Dominic Solanke, cannot be overstated. And I think Spurs deserve absolute real credit. And I know there's a lot of people talking about this result in terms of the title race, and obviously it does leave Arsenal a way out ahead on points again. The thing is, this match wasn't about Arsenal. This match was about Spurs and Manchester City. It was about Spurs fighting away from the relegation zone. It was about Spurs manager fighting for his job. It was about Spurs captain Romero, you know, the comments that he's been making about the team not being happy with the board and the structure. It's about the fans. It was about Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester City. It is nothing to do with Arsenal. Arsenal are not relevant to this match whatsoever. And to take something that Spurs have done, a massive feat, and to make it about Arsenal, put rivalry aside, I just think is so egotistical. It is so egotistical. It's nothing to do with them. Spurs fought back for Spurs. And fair play to them. And if my team went 2-0 down to City and fought back to 2-2, I'd be pleased and I'd be giving them the credit. I just think it's mental, the things that some people come out with. But what I want to do, I have, because Rodri come out with some absolutely mental comments after the match, and I feel like he's going to get in a lot of trouble for this. I've put a poll in the chat. Let me read the poll out. The poll says, will Rodri be punished by the Premier League for his comments about the PGMOL? Option 1, for sure. Option 2, no chance, he did nothing wrong. Option 3, unlikely, but he should be. So I'm going to play the clip just in case there's any of you that haven't seen it. Let me know obviously if you guys can hear it when it's playing, because there is subtitles, but if you can't If you can't hear it, it'll be more awkward. But just let me know if it's working in the chat.
They don't want us to win, but the referee has to be neutral. I don't know how to feel, honestly. Now I see the images in the pitch, of course you cannot see. There's a clear foul in the first action of the goal. It's a clear foul, and VAR is for a reason. And these small details make the difference. We're trying to do our best. It's the first goal they score. Maybe they don't score a goal. We win the game. It's one game and another game and another game. And it's not possible. And honestly, I never speak about referees. I respect their job massively, but they have to pay attention to these things. He kicked the leg. It's so clear. It's so clear. He anticipated the leg of Mark, and it's a clear foul. But it's not today. It's just 2-3 games in a row, and I don't know why. Honestly, I know we won too much, and the people they don't want us to win. But the referee has to be neutral. And for me, honestly, it's not fair. It's not fair because we work so hard in these situations now to make these decisions that you have to move on, of course, but you need to come back. But at the end, when everything is finished, you are frustrated because it's so clear the foul. He kicked the leg, and then, as of course, with the push of the action and the ball gets in. But we have to pay attention to these little things. Otherwise, it's gonna be difficult for everyone because this league is like this. It's about small details, and everything counts. So I think today is a very tough day for us in this sense.
As you say, everything does count. How damaging could this result be for the title race?
No, it's not damaging. Of course, we expect here to win, but we go further from this. Of course, we wanted to win. We're still not gonna put the arms down. We're gonna keep fighting until the end because this is our identity. But the reality is we need to be fair in these situations. It's not just one because everyone can be a mistake. We all have mistakes. No worries about one. But when it's 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row, as the manager says, because he's the guy in charge of saying these things, but now I'm the captain saying today, it's not possible. Honestly, it's not possible. And I'm not saying the level of the referees here is bad. It's great. But we have to pay attention because we work so hard to, these little actions not make the difference. It cannot make the difference. And today, unfortunately, did it.
Have you spoken to the referee? Have you had a response?
No, it's impossible. You cannot talk to them. It's not my aim to talk to them. But at the end, in the years before, it's not my responsibility. Now I'm the captain. I want to say it today. We feel a bit upset with this.
Now, I'm a little bit speechless when I saw this. Because, first of all, this man should personally have been sent off the pitch. He should have had a second, third and fourth yellow. He should be off the pitch. And he wants to complain about the fact that the referee, I'm sorry, I'm just lost for words. I'm just really lost for words. He wants to complain that the referees aren't being fair, that the referees aren't paying attention, that the referees aren't bad, but they're not good, while he should have been sent off. And it's not the first time that he has got away with not being sent off. I noticed saying he made fair comments. I disagree. Because I think it's fair for fans to say that. I think it's fair if managers want to make statements when they're asked about decisions because they're the leader and they're kind of in charge and they have more responsibility. I think for a player to come out and say something like that about the referees, I think is disgraceful. I think it's absolutely disgraceful. He is essentially accusing the referees of cheating, of not wanting to give the correct decision because City have won a large number of things. He's accusing the referees of not doing their jobs correctly and essentially calling them corrupt because they're trying to stop City winning because they've already won so much. I just don't think a player can say that. I just think you can't say that. Now, I see there's so many things happening. I see Flossie is saying Sunderland has scored. Let's have a look, see. Let's have a look. Can I find it? Can I get to today instead of yesterday? So, Sunderland 1-0 up, 11 minutes in. Well, looking at the attacking momentum, it might be a deserved goal. And who has scored it for them? Let me see. Why is it not? Where's the details? Details. Ah, there we are. Diarra, assisted by Brobby. So obviously Flossie not over the moon with that, but Sunderland 1-0 up against Burnley. So interesting just to see that coming in. Streets is in the house, delighted with the United win. United. Absolutely, I am well. Thank you very much, Jessie. Hope you are well also. Gav is saying, Rodri says it's only 1-1-4 as the refs are against them. I just think, whether you agree with the sentiment of his comments or not, I don't think he can say that. So you might think the referees are incompetent. You might think the referees make the wrong decisions. You might think that they need retrained or replaced. However, as a professional football player, you cannot come out and publicly state the referees are biased and they are failing to make decisions, the correct decisions, because we are Manchester City and they don't want us to win things. You cannot say that even if you think it, not in your professional role. I think it's inevitable. They're going to have to punish him, because if they allow players to come out and speak like that, where do you draw the line? Where does it end? What do you not allow to be said? So I think they're going to have to punish him to save face. The problem is he's a City player, which means they're not going to want to punish him. But I mean, the amount of face they lose if nothing comes of this, they cannot allow that to stand. They just can't. Gav is off to do his modding duties. Behave over there, Big Blue. Like Big Bird, but Big Blue. So I'm going to end the poll here, and the final percentages are: will Rodri be punished by the Premier League for his comments about the PGMOL? 62% unlikely, but he should be. So that's a massive majority. Second then, 23%. And last, with only 15% of the vote, no chance, he did nothing wrong. So just interesting there, between unlikely to be punished but he should be, and yes, he will be punished, so people essentially thinking he should be punished, it brings it to 85% of the vote, which is obviously absolutely massive. There's our lovely Kate in the house. Hello, my dear. We did speak on your sensational comeback against Manchester City. We were just speaking about Rodri's absolutely off-the-wall comments about the referees being biased against Manchester City. And I notes, careful Lou, Rodri might come out and say you're against City. Well, do you know what? If he doesn't think I'm against City, I'm doing something very wrong as a United fan. Something's gone terribly wrong if he doesn't think that I am against him. So let's see what else happened. What else happened this game week? Now, I want to go back to the red cards. I kind of glossed over them a little bit. I want to go back to the red cards yesterday at the 2 p.m. kickoffs. So the first one was Nico Williams. Nico Williams for Nottingham Forest got a red card. It was a professional handball. Wills is in the house. Lovely to see you. Lavanya in the house. Lovely to see you too, wee friend. Lavanya saying, we got our jacket for summer, more like a raincoat for monsoon in India in July. I'll tell you what, there's been close to monsoons here in Ireland the last little while. We've had floods and all sorts all over the place, so I could be getting rain jackets there with you, Lavanya. But if anybody hasn't seen it, I'm going to do a slight reenactment. So Nico Williams, right, he's standing in front of the goal, the ball's coming towards him, it's a shot on goal, and Nico Williams goes and stops the ball going in the back of the net, which he's sent off. He's given a red card for a professional handball. It's hard to argue with it. He literally just sticks his hand in the air. It's like an instinct. He's better instincts than some keepers. But it was like he didn't think. His body just reacted. And he was sent off. And obviously, he's going to be devastated. You do have to feel sorry for him a little bit. But it was just unbelievable the way his hand just went straight up in the air. But I want to ask the people, because nobody knows everything. We're not infallible, certainly not me. So maybe you people will know. He was sent off for the handball, which is totally fair, because he literally stopped it. It was a goal. It was a goal and he stopped it. But then a penalty was given. And so obviously then Crystal Palace score the penalty. It brings it to 1-1 and it stays at 1-1. That becomes the final result then for the whole rest of the match. 10 men Forest managed to hold off Crystal Palace, scoring another goal, and it ends 1-1. But is that not double jeopardy? He got a red card and was sent off. And then Crystal Palace also got a penalty. Is that not double jeopardy? I thought you weren't allowed to have a red card and a penalty. I thought it had to be one or the other. And I like that the rules change so often. I might be totally wrong on that. But you don't often see that, a red card and a penalty, because normally it's one or the other. So if anybody is fully informed on that, on why it's not double jeopardy or why that was the case, let me know. There's definitely no argument. He stuck his hand in the air. And obviously a handball in the box is a penalty, and he definitely prevented a goal scoring opportunity. Clear shot on goal. So I understand the red card. I just didn't think you were allowed to have both. So if anybody has information on that, please do let me know. The other match that I mentioned that there was a red card was Brentford Aston Villa. So Shada gets a red card. So there's a bit of a tangle. There's a Villa player and Shada on the ground. Shada kind of is bent over, getting up on his hands and knees. He goes to stand up and he kicks out with his back leg to the player that's behind him, the Villa player that's behind him, and he kicks him sort of in the groin, lower stomach area. He doesn't kick him very hard. There wasn't a lot of contact, but I mean, he's kicked out, studs up at another player, and his only intention was to kick the other player with his studs up. It's violent conduct. It's a red card. You can't argue with it. I have absolutely no clue what possessed him. I don't know what he was thinking. It was a complete madness. It's just a bit of a nuts thing to do. I don't understand it whatsoever. I really, really don't. It was a bit mental. And I've seen the replay of it, and every time I see the replay of it, I'm like, what were you doing? Like, what were you thinking? Why would you just kick someone? He literally just kicks him. But anyway, after that, Utara scores. They actually go with 10 men, 1-0 up at that point against Aston Villa, and they stay that way. But it's not because Villa didn't score. So with a red card, then we have the Utara Brentford goal. Then we have half-time. After half-time, Villa score. Tammy Abraham scores. And it's pulled back and disallowed because the ball has gone out of play 19 seconds before the goal. The thing is, it's definitely gone out of play. The ball has absolutely 100% gone out of play. The argument that some Villa fans are making is that, was it still the same phase of play? So they're over on the left-hand side, just short of the corner flag, and the ball goes out. And it's after that, 19 seconds later, that Villa score the goal. And so what Villa fans are saying is, how could that possibly be part of the attacking phase of play? There is one Villa player, one Brentford player, they're more or less at the corner flag, sort of fighting it out for possession of the ball. That, when you then, the attack actually starts, it's a different phase of play. So it should never have gone back that far. They're not saying that it didn't go out, that it wasn't over the line. It was definitely out of play, but it wasn't called at the time. And the argument is then, well, that phase of play had ended, a new phase of play had started, and therefore it should never have gone back that far to rule the goal out, which I can understand because you'd be raging. How far back are VAR going to go with these things until they just find something? And obviously, it's an important point for Villa. Really, they needed all three, as did City. Both of them needed to keep level with, like, keep pace with Arsenal. It was the only chance they had, was to keeping pace and hope Arsenal drop points. The fact that both Villa and City drop points, I just think it's only good news for Arsenal. Lavagna is saying 30-second rule and same phase of play or no loss of possession. That's a guess. Maybe it is. It felt like a different phase of play. If I'm being honest, it felt like a different phase of play. Like, yeah, it's just an unusual one. I just thought it was really unusual. Some of the decisions this weekend were just, they weren't necessarily wrong. There was more to them than just a simple right or wrong decision, if you get what I mean. So it's been such a weekend for football. So much has happened. One of the other things I will say, let's go back to, so we've spent a lot of time talking about yesterday, but let's go back to the day before. Arsenal beat Leeds 4-0. I definitely thought Leeds would give them more of a fight. I think that's a big result for Arsenal. I think it's a really important result for Arsenal. Again, a difficult team. I definitely didn't think they were going to smash them like that. So credit to them, unfortunately, there. Chelsea win 3-2. Another one with an absolutely unbelievable half-time team talk, because they go in 2-0 down at half-time. Whatever Rosenior does or says at half-time, he definitely lit a fire under them. Three half-time changes. He puts Pedro on, holds Garnacho off, Cucurella on, Hato off, Fofana on, Badiashile off. João Pedro scores the first goal for Chelsea. Cucurella scores the second goal for Chelsea, so 2 of the substitutions to bring them level, and then João Pedro assists Enzo Fernandez for the third goal to go 3-2 and Chelsea to win the match. So very effective half-time talk, very, very effective half-time substitutions. So 2 instances this weekend between Thomas Frank and our wee friend Liam Rosenior of serious half-time talks from managers, and I just think it's interesting to see. It's the kind of thing I find interesting. Now, obviously, I'm going to deep dive this one a bit more when we have Ash on at the end of this week, but I can't ignore it. Sorry, Flossie. Close your eyes and ears for this bit. 4-1. Liverpool beat Newcastle 4-1. That is serious. I really, really, really believed Newcastle were going to beat Liverpool. 100%. Liverpool have been so on and off this season. They've not done well against smaller teams. Newcastle have been on a better trajectory than Liverpool. I really 100% believed Newcastle were going to beat Liverpool. 4-1 is a serious scoreline. So me and Ash are definitely going to have to talk about that on Thursday, Friday. I'm not sure what day it'll be this week. We'll see when I can get him on. But yeah, it was just, that's a serious score. But let me see what you guys are saying, because I've done an awful lot of waffling indeed. Let me see. Let me see. Yes, we're all having a great old chat in there. Love it. I love to see that. Lavagna is saying Rosenior ball versus Carrick ball, 18th of April. Too late for the new manager bounce award. And you know what? My birthday is at the end of April. So I am hoping that I'm going to have a double celebration, but I will be very, very, very interested to see how that match goes if they both continue on the trajectory that they're currently on. Very good shout to look out for that match, Lavagna. Anthony is in the house telling everybody to smash that like button. Correct and right. Wills is saying, I saw some of your predictions. 2-1 leads. Well, I'll tell you what, Wills, you weren't correcting us. You weren't in here correcting us. I genuinely, I thought Leeds would give you a fight. I did think I actually thought maybe a draw. I did think maybe a draw. I can't believe how easily you steamrolled them. Like 100%, I think that's such a big result for you. Yeah, Straits is saying Liverpool really turned up. They did. And like out of nowhere, because nobody expected that. iNotes is saying, where is it go? No Bruno, no Joe Linton. Liverpool were lucky because of the injuries that Newcastle were struggling with. Very good point, because they have an enormous amount of injuries at the moment. Wills is saying the 2 quick goals made them panic, and that is a reference to Ekitike's goals in the 41st and 43rd minute. They were fast. It was like 1-0 Newcastle, bam, bam, 2-1. And it is difficult then when that happens. Streets is saying, bring it, Chelsea. He's not scared. And it is at Stamford Bridge. Streets is saying the last time Carrick was there at Stamford Bridge, it ended 1-1. United counter-attacking dagger at the end. What else? Lavanya saying Gordon was out there to kill our players. We didn't have any right backs. But yeah, look, it wasn't the result I was expecting. Genuinely, it wasn't. Again, a massive result for Liverpool. I would have preferred if Liverpool had lost, clearly because I don't like Liverpool, but also because when I look, let's go to the Premier League and let's have a look at the standings. So let me share my screen so you can see what I can see. Obviously, Arsenal are way out in front again at the top. City in second on 47, Villa on 46 after losing. We, Manchester United, are still in fourth with 41 points. Chelsea is 1 point behind us and Liverpool are 1 point behind Chelsea. So obviously it would have been preferable for us if Liverpool lost, had stayed down there on 36 points. It would have given us much more of a comfort gap, but it's actually left Newcastle in 11th with 33 points and actually the only team on an even goal difference. Spurs, even with the draw, 29 points and 14th. It's just crazy. Wills is asking, how many 0-0s did we get this week? Wills, I would say 0. 0 0-0s. Do you know what it is? They all saw my show. They saw my show. They heard what I had to say. They heard what you had to say. And they realised, lads, this 0-0 carrying on we have starting, it has to stop. They're talking about it. They're spilling the tea. They're telling the secrets. We'll have to get the goals out of the bag. And I do have to laugh. Ash and I have been laughing about this. From Ash and I said, we need to chill out. We need to lower our score predictions. We're predicting too many goals and nobody's scoring. And then they've all started scoring all sorts of mad numbers. So I actually think we might have triggered that from them. But it's been an unbelievable game week. A lot has gone on. I'm delighted with United. We said before the match, Fulham was a big test and was the real test for Michael Carrick, because Manchester United often turn up in the big games. And then when it comes to teams like Fulham, Brighton, Everton, that sort of a team, we absolutely capitulate and we can't cope. But this weekend, we managed to keep our heads and get back into the match and score a winner. Oh, it's nice. It's nice. We're scoring late goals. We're winning games. It's excellent. iNotes is saying there was no 0-0 because of the red cards and the penalties. So he's having none of it. Flossie is saying, leave her team alone. She will get us with the spanner. Streets is a glutton for punishment and has pointed out that Sunderland are in the top 8. Well, to be fair, Streets, at one point they were in the top 4 and for a long while they were in the top 6. So the top 8 is kind of about where they've been. Do you know what I mean? It's even after a bit of a drop off, they're doing all right. Anthony is saying United are only 2 wins away from their fan getting a haircut. Well, do you know what? That's normally about the time that we lose, Anthony. Don't mention the haircut. They hear you and they'll lose. It feels like there's a nice atmosphere around United at the moment. It feels like a happier place to be. It feels like there's a unity there. And do you know what? Props to Ruben Amorim. I don't think he was the guy. I don't think he was the man to bring Manchester United forward. I don't think we would have won the league under him. I questioned a lot of his decisions. However, he is more or less single-handedly responsible for clearing out a lot of the deadwood, for getting rid of a lot of the bad attitudes, for clearing out the rotten barrel, for reorganising the dressing room, and for, he demolished it. He demolished it. Whatever was left of player power, he power hosed it out of the dressing room. And he set it up. I don't think he was the guy to bring us forward, but I will be forever grateful for what he did do. He got rid of so much toxicity, which allows Carrick or whoever the next manager is going to be to build from a fresh slate without all of that negativity, toxicity. Those players like Garnacho, Sancho, for me, Rashford, he really, really, really helped. I know to say in the new interim bounce, it will run out soon enough at United. People said that about Ollie. He went 28 games unbeaten away from home. So if we last another 28 games unbeaten, I'm happy enough with that. So I don't think it is going to run out soon, I know. And the reason I don't think it's going to run out soon is I don't actually think it's a new manager bounce. I think it's a return to what we know. I don't think it's a new manager bounce because I think it's based on a clear out of the negative toxicity, the deadwood players. It's built actually on what Amorim did. The dressing room under Amorim was actually, they never turned on him. They weren't against him. And that's normally what happens with us, is the dressing room turns on the manager. That didn't happen. Amorim did so much work. With a new board, with new part owners, we have a really, really new atmosphere in the dressing room. And I think Ruben Amorim cleansed a lot of the nastiness. And I think now what Carrick is doing is re-infusing the United DNA. So for me, I don't think this is a bounce, to be honest. I think it's the next layer, it's the next building block on what Amorim was doing. And I don't think Amorim could have done it. I think he built the foundation, and I think Carrick is now building the ground floor. So I actually don't think it is a bounce. So I don't think it's going to wear off in the way a traditional bounce would. Obviously, there's a lot of rivals are hoping it's going to fall off, because if Manchester United actually does come back, I think people would panic. I think everybody would panic. Never mind Arsenal are scary. If Manchester United really and truly come back, that's scary. That is scary. So I think there's a lot of rivals hoping that it does fall off. But I don't think it will. Streets is saying, if United recruited the way we've recruited for these last 2 years under Ollie, we could have had some serious success, in my opinion. Streets, you know exactly how I feel about Ollie. I think you are absolutely 100 million % correct. And I actually think that Ollie walked so Carrick can run. I think people are appreciating what Carrick is doing in a way that Ollie was never appreciated because of what has happened since. I think because of what happened under Erik ten Hag and because of the negative things that happened under Amorim, people now have a newfound appreciation for what Carrick is doing, when actually, in all credit to him, he's doing what Ollie did. It's come at a different time. So it's being received differently. But look, I agree with you, Streets, 100%. Rosenior at the wheel. By the way, I have been nothing but kind about your manager. I've been very supportive. I've actually been more supportive of your manager than some of your fans. So you just pipe yourself down, my friend. What else? Wills is saying Carrick will still need backing and trust from the board. That's been a big issue for a long time. Correct and right, Wills, 100%. Flossie with the big question. The big question is, has Eddie Howe taken us as far as he can? Now, I actually had something on Eddie Howe. Where is it, Flossie? Let me see if I can find it for you. Because I had it here. Where is it? Is it gone? Is it gone? No, actually, what I had to share with you from Eddie Howe was not good news. It was a video, but it's him talking about Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, confirming they will be out for weeks, not months. Oh, so that is good news. Weeks, not months. That's less time, so that's good news. That's what I had from Eddie Howe. What else did I have? Oh, do you know what? I do want to share this, and maybe you guys have or haven't seen this. It's not about Eddie Howe, but David Moyes was booked for celebrating Everton's late equaliser. So Everton equalised very late in the game, and David Moyes was over the moon, bouncing up and down, running up and down, dancing on the sidelines, and he got booked for it. And he says, imagine getting booked for celebrating, fucking sad, do you know what I mean? And he said that if he had more mobility, he'd have done a knee slide too. He's also said that it won't stop him doing it again. He's actually definitely going to do it again. And you know what?
I'm still shaking my head.
I 100% agree with him. Imagine booking the manager for celebrating a late equaliser for your team. I just think that's really poor. I think it's absolutely mental. I can't believe he got booked for it. I think that's wrong, and I think that's refereeing gone mad. Absolutely mad. But yeah, Flossie, back to Eddie Howe. There's a lot more people questioning him now. I think it was inevitable that eventually, if things continued, he was going to start to get questioned. I do think it was only a matter of time. And I think when you lose the way you did to that Liverpool side, I do think questions, it builds. It's all the poor results build, all of the disappointment. It all sort of like builds and builds and builds on itself. So it might not just be that result. That result might be what tips a lot of people over. People who've been on the fence or been unsure, that might be their tipping point. And I do think it was only a matter of time until he started to get questioned more. So I think that's a really important question for your fan base. As much as you like Eddie Howe, has he done as much as he can? Or is it a case that all of these injuries are just hindering him and he could do more if he wasn't getting absolutely whacked out of it with injuries? But yeah, definitely something that myself and Ash will kind of pull out and extrapolate on much more later in the week. And Flossie is saying about Eddie Howe, if England come knocking after the World Cup, I think he's gone. I would agree with that. I reckon so. Wills is asking, do we think it will be different with Carrick than it was under Ollie? And Streets is saying, I'm honestly not sure yet. It depends on the outcome of the season. If he gets top 4, we're spending big in the summer for sure. I can't wait. So yeah, it's a watching brief at the moment. Flossie is saying, last few games I have questioned him more. And that's the thing, Flossie, when like fans like yourself that are pretty calm and rational, and I felt very much the same about Frank kind of when Kate went. When fans of a club that you know to be rational and patient start to lose patience and kind of turn, I think it's only a matter of time until the more reactionary fans, it escalates. If it's got to the point where you guys are questioning it, it's already going too far. So I think he needs to really start doing a bit more. Anthony's asking, how long till we can buy membership or super chats on my channel? So how it works, for those that don't know, I need to have, for me to be able to have memberships, any sort of monetization on the channel, so membership, super chats, anything like that, I need to have 500 subscribers and I need to have 3,000 watch hours. So essentially people need to have watched 3,000 hours worth of my content. At the time of starting this video, I had 354 subscribers, 355 subscribers. So I need another 145 subscribers, and I need about another 1,800 watch hours. So it's probably going to be another few months, but the more lives we do, the more chats we have, the more interactions and likes and all the rest of it, the more people will add to the wee gang, and obviously then them numbers grow quicker. But it's lovely having you here, just even normal chatting, just spending some time with me, just back and forth, having a chat. 3:55, thank you for checking for me, Mum. I've lost it, I could not remember. Sometimes I can't remember what I had for breakfast. But yeah, so obviously the more it's shared and liked and interacted with, the more the video starts, or the more the channel starts to grow. And as it grows, then it allows the super chats and memberships and all that kind of stuff. But at the moment, we're just tipping along. But look, I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate you all spending your evenings with me. And it's just nice, you know, because I'm one of these people, I have lots of thoughts, and as you can tell, I talk a lot. But not everybody in my life loves football, so it's nice to be able to just come in, have a wee chat with you guys, and sort of bounce my ideas, my conspiracy theories off everybody, and to see if you're thinking what I'm thinking, or if I've gone way off down the rabbit hole again, as we experienced yesterday. But Anthony is saying, let's get this channels pushed, ladies and gents. Like, subscribe, and share. Anthony is correct and right. But lads, I'm going to leave it there. It's 8:45 on a Monday evening. I'm going to go and have another cup of tea. You'll be shocked. Thank you very much for joining me. I will speak to you all very soon, and I hope you all have a very, very lovely evening. And Flossie, we are definitely going to deep dive into the Eddie Howe stuff with Ash towards the end of the week. 100%. Talk to you all soon, folks.